Welcome to the Investing Podcast, presented by Tusk Media. Now, for your early morning look at financial news and activity in audio and video form, here's the Morning Market Mimosa.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Investing Podcast, Tuesday, October 4th, 2016. We're back, second day of the week, fourth day of the month, and we're going to get things rolling. We're only a little bit behind. Andrew Hall, Ben and I, we're going to rock out. We're going to get some other guys up here in just a little bit, talk about some other things, but weekend recap. The whole crew of Tusk Media made an appearance in Athens, Georgia. Went over for the Georgia-Tennessee debacle. A lot of good times. Everyone's sick.
I'm getting over it though. I had a steroid injection on Sunday.
Yeah, Ben's on steroids, so if you're wondering why his predictions are so strong, that's why. I'm going to use that joke over and over. I feel like we had mostly good times in Athens, lots of good stories. So, thanks for hosting town. College football picks. I won the week. You still have a really healthy lead. I just need to make up one game a week for really till the end of the year. And can't do it every week if you don't do it the first week, and I did it this week. So
more importantly, Washington is number 55 team in the country.
Yeah, unbelievable. Like, they crushed.
Yeah.
I did not see that game coming. Solid game. We continue to be pretty good at picking games, like, as a group. Like, I think everybody was at least 500. We're due for somebody to really break out and take you down. It's not going to be me, but I'm looking at Krebs. I'm looking at Sam.
I'm going to cannibalize myself. I'm just going to go from strength to strength.
Low key, the interns, 4-1 on their locks in the week. Nobody's talking about that because they've only gotten 4 games right all season, but still pretty impressive. That's a pretty good run.
What was their lock this last week?
This week it was Georgia, and they covered that by half a point. So.
Wow, they knew it was coming too. They could see that ending.
That's the crazy thing. I think Scotty ran through the whole game in his mind. He was like, well, if they score with 1 second left, Tennessee will definitely make the extra point. But I don't think there's going to be time left. And so that's where they were. So they nailed that. The spread was 3.5. Tennessee only won by 3. They killed that. Other big development was probably the Kim Kardashian robbery.
Yeah.
I wonder what it's like to believe that happened.
Yeah.
There's no way it happened. Right? Do you?
No way. To escape on bicycles.
Yeah. They tied her up and she somehow got out.
No one really saw anything except the doorman. And then it was reported to news outlets.
And I don't know how I don't know if our podcast has a rating, so I don't know quite how to say some of this story that's coming up. But there was a video a couple weeks ago, I think it was last week even, of a crazed fan ran up and tried to literally kiss her rear end in public. I don't know if y'all saw this video. It's an actual thing. And he got taken out by 1 billion security guards. So let me get this straight. On the street, if you try to literally kiss her posterior, you'll get taken out. But if she's staying in another country, there's no one around to help her. I'm not buying that. It makes 0 sense.
It's not going to happen.
Also, I feel it's kind of on you for having that much jewelry. Period. That's on you. You were asking for this fake story to happen. But yeah, big developments there. We also have investing going on this podcast. So transition now, investing mode. Talking a little bit today, futures mostly flat, Dow futures up about 7 basis points, S&P futures up 2, NASDAQ up 11, gold's down about 1%, oil down about 0.5%. Obviously, we're a little bit late getting to this, so we missed your data dab yesterday. So talk to us about some of the data we had coming out.
Yeah, so we had the ISM, which is the Manufacturers Purchasing Managers Index, which is something that's really watched pretty closely because it has historically been a bit of a recession indicator. But it was up and it beat expectations yesterday, so that's a positive. We also had auto sales that came out better than expected. The biggest winner was Nissan, posted almost a 5% gain when it was expected to be down year over year. Biggest loser continues to be Volkswagen, still dealing with a lot of those issues with the emission scandal. GM a little bit better than expected. Ford about in line. They were down quite a bit, but that was expected.
So if we tie this into kind of the storyline we've been talking about since we started the podcast with interest rates and all that, obviously we're on the heels of a non-rate hike. How much do you read into readings like this soon after that? I mean, is it going to bear much? Do you think it's, obviously it's indicating something,
Right.
But is it something that we should start reading into and start building off of at this point? It seems a little premature.
I totally agree. It's premature, and I mean it's decent data. I mean it's not saying the end of the world's happening. It's not saying things are tremendously robust. I think it's kind of status quo. People who had the opinions prior to the rate hike that they didn't want to hike, they're going to continue with those opinions, and ones who want to hike, Lacker's out this morning saying that we need to be hiking right now and that rates should be 1.5%, but he's been one of the most hawkish guys on the Fed. So, really not too much to read into on that front, I think.
So let's talk a little bit, let's switch gears to a couple individual names. First up, we got Darden. Talk to us a little bit about Darden and Eating Out.
So Darden is this holding company, owns a number of restaurant brands, including Red Lobster and Olive Garden. Olive Garden beat expectations, so because of that, Darden raised its full year forecast. This is important because Darden has just been the whipping boy of Wall Street for so long. They had some activist investors in there, just could not get the operations correct. But it seems like they may be on the right track, and they actually had a decent third quarter, which not many restaurants are having. There's been a lot of news that restaurant traffic is relatively weak. So good for them. It seems like maybe some of their new things, what they're doing, are paying off.
Yeah, because it seems like we've been getting almost whole group-wide downgrades, almost across the board. It seems like no one's really loving that space. So something you didn't necessarily expect. With Olive Garden in particular. And a Wall Street Journal talking about Boeing and accounting.
Yeah, some interesting, they're not new revelations, but it's interesting the Wall Street Journal is picking it up now. Basically what happens when Boeing starts a new program of a new aircraft is that they book all the costs, they allocate it over a number of years to the aircraft. So they have their expectation about how much they're going to sell each aircraft for, and then they allocate a cost from that they spent upfront to those subsequent aircraft. It's different than what Airbus does when they book the costs up front and then they make incremental profit on the back end. The problem with Boeing is if their assumptions are incorrect over the next 10 years, like if their demand expectations are proven wrong, then they could start to realize some significant write-downs on their Dreamliner program, which they haven't had to date. So, like really big ones. So that's a risk for them. Stock's not doing too much in pre-market because I think this is basically already out there for a lot of analysts. But the fact that the Wall Street Journal is picking it up now just suggests, all is not well in Seattle, and they're gonna have to find some more demand, which has been lacking so far this year.
Last thing I was going to hit on before we get to premature prognostications, Cabela's Bass Pro Shop, huge acquisition coming from Bass Pro, $4.5 billion in cash. Kind of interesting. I don't know if you shop at either of these stores or if you ever get anything there, but sometimes I can't even tell which one's which. Like in my mind, like I know where these things are located, but I'm like, is it a Bass Pro or is it a Cabela's?
Same color scheme.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously seems like there's some pretty legitimate synergies. I think they're marketing to the same people. Set them to be just kind of a titan in that space. But it was interesting just reading kind of about how Bass Pro Shops got started, and it was basically a dude selling bait out of his dad's liquor store because he wasn't pleased with the quality of bait that was in the area. So dream big, kids. I guess that's the takeaway. And sell stuff at liquor stores. Takeaway number 2. Predictions. We do this every month. We predict the 3 major U.S. stock indices and benchmarks as to how they will perform over the course of the month. And we basically just go real simple, over, under, relative to the previous month close. Last month, we had a winner. It was Matthew Krebsbach. Correctly predicted that the Dow would be down, the S&P would be down, that oil would be up. Everybody, all of us missed the NASDAQ. We all had it down across the board. It snuck up. So Krebs won last month. We got to turn the page, start looking at these numbers. When we look at the Dow, we're talking the over-under number is 18,308.15. S&P's at 2168.27. NASDAQ at 53.12 flat, and then oil at 48.24. So I'm starting with you. Over/under for the Dow, is it going up or down this month? And we got to cheat a little bit. We're a day in.
I'm gonna go up.
Ben's going up. All right. Are you going up on S&P as well?
Yes.
Up. NASDAQ?
Down.
Ooh.
I think that chip sales Apple's gonna have a reality check.
Oil up or down from 48.24.
Down.
I'm going.
OPEC has no teeth.
Yeah. I'm going down. I think oil comes down on oil. I'm working backwards now. I'm going up on the NASDAQ, if for no other reason than it seems like we've got a really nice pattern of deviation for the NASDAQ from other indices, but it does continue to kind of revert to the mean. So being kind of the deviation last month, I think it's going to come back. I'm going up straight across the board equity-wise. So I've got Dow up, S&P up, NASDAQ up, oil down. That's where I'm at. We're going to get the other guys up here. They can give their predictions, and then we'll come back up here for some other action.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I am Sam. This is Krebsbach, aka The Unit, here to make our predictions. So, Krebs, what do you got?
I'm still thinking I didn't have to plan out and still thinking through this, but I know, pretty sure oil's gonna be down, and I think we're just gonna go down across the board. I think we're gonna go Dow, S&P, NASDAQ all down.
Very interesting because I'm on the same page as you.
There you go.
I was getting kind of worried because I was watching Andrew and Ben up there, and they were much more bullish. But you know what? October, I don't think it's a great month before an election. Just too much election uncertainty. And so, I don't know. I think we're going to be down across the board. I think oil, as Ben said, OPEC has no teeth.
Yeah,
it's not the first time they've promised.
I agree with that one.
Yeah, it's not the first time they've promised to cut production and had no teeth.
I want to preface those predictions with I don't think it'll move that much though.
No, I agree.
Probably move 100 points.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a horrific month, but definitely down, I believe.
I don't think the market's going to move that. You said they're going to go down uncertainty with election. I think they'll kind of stay relatively stable,
Yeah.
kind of like that little window.
Everything's going up but oil. I'm sick. I'm really sick.
On the heels of a stout compliment from Matthew Krebsbach, we're back with Political Party. We look good.
We look good.
That's what I've been told. Let's talk about what's going on. We like to do this periodically, check in on the insanity that is the 2016 political election, and think the place to start up, Trump didn't pay
Taxes, and
insane.
it's crazy. And Trump claims that that's because that makes him smart. I'm not sure that was the right thing to say to the American people who have paid what they feel is their fair share of taxes. The only thing I will point out is if you want to invest and take a $900 million loss one year that Hillary was mentioning, you shouldn't have to pay taxes if you're willing to take a $900 million loss.
I'll take
so if there's a huge loss, any one of us don't have to pay taxes. We just have to commit to having huge losses in our investments.
Yeah, Ben, I don't know if you have thoughts. From my perspective, this was another perfect opportunity for Trump to just explain something basic that the average American doesn't understand, which is it is almost a civic calling to you to pay as little an income tax as the law will allow. Making that point could have been done in a number of ways other than just saying, I know the loopholes of the law better than anyone. I'm so smart that I can take advantage of this. This is why I should be president. Not the best messaging, but I don't know if you have any thoughts.
Right. I mean, when you lose money, those are tax losses. You don't have income to pay taxes on.
Yeah.
But of course, he can't say he lost money because that would make him a loser.
He refuses.
Can't be a loser.
Yeah.
Other people are losers, not him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I would encourage people if you're actually offended by this, first of all, I'm sorry that this kind of stuff ruffles your feathers. I don't know why it does, but take a step back and see what you're offended by. Is it that he lost a ton of money, or that he didn't pay income tax in the years thereafter, and like figure out what part of it bothers you? Because I think if you're bothered that this guy's talking about how successful he is and he lost all his money, I feel like that's actually a legitimate beef, and I think maybe that speaks a little bit to the guy's ego and character and all that. But if you're upset that he tries to get his tax rate as low as he possibly can, I mean, that's on you. You should do the same thing. When was the last time you called your accountant and said, no, I'd like to pay more?
Yeah. You look at the effective tax rate like the New York Times company pays, for instance, and that's not the statutory rate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it happens in all businesses, and, you know, that's just the fact of the system that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like it, then change the system, but that's what we have.
Yeah. So we had that going on, and we had some insults towards President Barack Obama.
Yeah. Filipino President Rodrigo Duterte says that Obama should go to hell because he does not support the Filipinos' war on drugs. And they are now not giving arms. The U.S. is not selling arms to the Philippines. So the Philippines says, we're going to go to Russia and China because they said, we're going to sign documents, we'll give you whatever you want right now. And so Filipinos, not a big fan of the Americans right now, which is kind of a reversal from what we've had for like the last, since Philippines was founded.
Yeah. So had that going on. Vice presidential debate coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight, I don't know what time it is. I will say one of my favorite new recurring headlines, this just speaks to how old our electorate is, like people voting in this, is every time I'll get on Twitter the day of a debate and I'll see like 8 or 10 articles that are like, here's how to watch tonight's debate online. So lots of headlines like that this morning. I'm excited about the vice presidential debate. We're going to do a recap podcast tomorrow. We're going to Periscope it, probably around 7:45. We'll have it up in long form tomorrow morning. We'll see who's healthy enough and has enough voice to actually speak. So we'll see what's going on there. But Hillary, we got anything going on? What you got? Anybody?
Talking about the vice presidential,
Or just anything. We left her totally out of it, man. We left Hillary.
You know, I'm interested to see the vice presidential debate tonight because it's going to be very interesting to go from 2 candidates that are all about I and what I've done to you know, supporting roles that are also going to talk about everything that they've done. I mean, it's not going to be talking about them personally. Or I guess the goal is to not, you know, blow your own resume up. It's to blow up, you know, Trump and Hillary's resume. So it's going to be interesting to see, coming from somebody else's mouth, what do they say about Donald Trump and his success? What do they say about Hillary Clinton and her success?
Yeah, I think if you're Mike Pence, you draw like a hard line in the sand, and your entire platform this evening is when Trump quits, here's what you'll get in me. I think that's the approach I would take. Because he'll quit. He'll quit.
I might have to quit after about half an hour watching this debate, though, because I think it might be a snooze fest.
I think so, too. We've got 2 of the more, like, talk about the extremes. You go from Trump and Hillary, like, battle of the egos, to, like, 2 of the more anonymous figures in American politics. I mean, really, like, I know nothing about them.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. We'll watch it. We'll let you know what happened. And that's all we got. Anybody got anything else?
That's
Great.
it.
Y'all have a great day. Hit subscribe. Do all that good stuff. Bye.
Tusk Media is a subsidiary of Narwhal Capital Management. Ratings and reviews of Tusk Media content are not to be construed as endorsements of opinions, analysis, or services offered by Tusk or its parent company. The opinions and predictions shared here are professional beliefs at the time of publication. We are not under duress from any of the corporate entities mentioned. This is not a solicitation to take any particular action. Although we are investment advisors, this information should not be considered investment, legal, or tax advice. We strive to be as impartial, insightful, and accurate as possible. We base our opinions, analysis, and calculations on information we believe to be reliable, but we cannot guarantee its accuracy. We can, however, guarantee that our opinions will sometimes be flat out wrong due to a variety of factors. Employees and clients of Narwhal Capital Management may or may not hold positions in the securities detailed and may or may not hold these positions in the future. A full list of all securities purchased, sold, or held during the 12 months preceding the date of this publication can be provided upon request. Unless otherwise noted, all data accessed via MarketWatch or the Bloomberg terminal. Past performance does not guarantee future results. A copy of Narwhal's Form ADV is available at the SEC's website, www.advisorinfo.sec.gov, or from Narwhal upon written request.